And I don't know how to explain this, Brian. It was like 180, a little downwind. I pulled a 7-iron. We had to wait a second, and I was kind of back there by myself. The birds were chirping. It was a perfect day. I took a deep breath, and I teed up my ball real early.
Okay.
And I just stood back there, and I had shanked multiple balls. That in the back nine, literally shanked multiple balls. I'm not feeling good about my irons. I'm not feeling good about anything. I had this moment where nobody was back there yet. I could kind of hear them maybe chattering a little bit off to the left, but I'm standing back behind my ball, and I had that Bagger Vance moment where everything's zoned in, and my brain went, and this is not a joke. This is not after the fact. I said to myself, your entire life has prepared you to do this.
Ooh, I like this.
And I was just like, everything you care about has prepared you for this moment.
Hey, welcome to the Bag Chatter Podcast. I'm your host, Bryan, joined, as always, by a man who is wearing a hat of his favorite basketball team, who are in the middle of a playoff run, and they are expected to win the NBA Finals. I'm not sure how he's feeling about that. Adam, was that a long enough intro for you?
Well, Brian, the Russian League Moscow Lions, actually, their playoff doesn't actually start until November, weirdly. It's a reverse season.
It is a really cool hat, though, with the lion on one side and the hammer and sickle on the other. I'm a big sickle guy. I'm not a hammer guy, but the sickle, I love it. Love a sickle. No, the Celtics, they are, as we record this, we are about an hour and 10 minutes from them playing the Heat in Game 5. They should close out the Heat tonight. This should be something I'm not afraid to put out there, but right now I'm a little afraid. So I hope when this is heard that it's that this isn't, an old takes exposed moment. Boston Celtics are the favorites to win the NBA Finals right now, plus 130. The Nuggets, defending champions, plus 260.
I know you're a big Bill Simmons guy, and Bill Simmons is poo-pooing their chances to beat the Nuggets. The Celtics should be the favorites, and they should. This is why this playoff run is not fun, because because they've been ahead of schedule. They should be the favorites. They are the most talented team by a lot. Anything with them losing before the finals is an unmitigated failure. And if they lose to the Nuggets, fine. Okay, we can talk about that, and we'll deal with that, and we'll deal with the ramifications of that. But these first couple rounds are just not fun, because I'm not taking joy in wins, but I was furious when they lost one game to the Heat, and I haven't taken any pleasure in their 3 wins. So I won't take pleasure in a win till the conference finals. So it sucks.
Speaking of furious, I think we're going to get a little bit of Adam rage in this episode, and so let's not hold off any longer. Let's get right to the golf. The Golf Association of Philadelphia's team matches have been around for a long time. Just how long? Well, longer than the Masters, which debuted in 1934, even longer than the term birdie, which, as the story goes, was coined by Albert Smith around 1903 when he exclaimed, "That's a bird of a shot," after hitting a butte to just a few inches for his third into the par 5 12th at Atlantic City Country Club. That's right, it was a few years before that, in 1896, that the first interclub golf match in the Philly region took place, featuring Philly Cricket Club defeating Devon Golf Club 22-12. Side note, in case you're wondering, that would not be a scoregami, as we've seen that scored twice in the NFL, including 4 years ago when Tua Tagovailoa led the Miami Dolphins over Adams' New England Patriots 22-12. But I digress. 1 year later, in 1897, the Golf Association of Philadelphia, which most people refer to as GAP, was formed. And that same year, the GAP team matches officially started in full force, featuring 4 teams: Philly Cricket Club, Philly Country Club, Marion Cricket Club, and the Belmont Golf Association, which is now known as Aronimink Golf Club. The name of the matches has changed through the decades, but 127 years later, the competition is stronger than ever. In 2024, there are 404 teams from over 100 clubs competing in the Gap team matches. Each of the 6 divisions is made up of many 4-team sections. The highest level of competition happens in the AA division, where there are only 16 teams. The eventual winner of the Gap team matches will come from that AA division. Honeybrook doesn't have a team in the AA or A division, but our first team, which Adam plays on, is in the B division, in Section 13, along with Concord, Carlisle, and Bonaire. If clubs have multiple teams, as Honeybrook does, they must fill their lineups with their best players on Team 1, next best on Team 2, and so on. Because my handicap is at a 5.9, I'm on Honeybrook's second team, which is in Section 20 of Division E. Honeybrook also has a third team in Section 21 of Division E. Now, I don't want to get too into the weeds here with how all this stuff works, but I just wanted to give you some context about how long these matches have been around and how cool the whole endeavor is. In fact, one of my favorite parts of the matches is the promotion and relegation system similar to English football. If you win your section, or sometimes even if you come in second, you move up a division for the next year. Likewise, if you have a poor showing, your team might get relegated and drop a division. So that's the Gap team matches. You're one of 12 players representing your club. 6 of you stay home, 6 of you play away in non-handicapped matches. I've played in them off and on the last 5 years, and this is Adam's first foray into the event. The matches take place over 3 weeks, and week 1 this year happened on Sunday, April 21st. Adam and I were both playing away. He was representing Team 1 at Carlisle Country Club, and I was just outside of Philly playing for Team 2 against the Springhaven Club. We jumped on the mics the following day to recount how our matches went. All right, it's the third Monday in April. We are fresh off of week 1 of the Gap team matches. Adam, your first foray into a competition that really, there's a ton of variables going in. You might be playing your home course. You might be playing a course you've never been at, which could be an incredible course like Marion, could be a dog track. Dare I say there may be some in the Gap region. You could be playing somebody that's a better golfer than you or a worse golfer than you. You're playing with a partner you've played with or haven't played with before. Lots of variables. How did it go?
It was a cool experience. I'm going to start with that. It did not go well. I don't even know how to ease into it. It didn't go well.
Let's go hole by hole with your match. You played at no, I'm kidding, but you played at Carlisle Country Club.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which was a bit of a drive for you, I believe.
Yeah, about an hour and 40 each way. And I get out there and I'm playing a guy named Nick, who it said, I looked him up. He's a +2. I played fine. I played, first tee. I got up there. I hit a great drive, hit my approach a little long. He's into the middle of the green and just drains like a 40-foot putt for birdie. And I'm like, okay, that's like whatever. All right, fine. But I'm like, I'm saying to JK, I was with JK. He was my team partner for the day. I'm like, all right, it's one hole. He's not going to do that all day. Hole 2 hits like a 25-30 footer for birdie. And I'm like, okay. I actually made my 25-30 footer for birdie right on top of him to keep it one up. But he then won the third hole. And, so it's a Nassau style competition. So, front 9, back 9 overall. And he was up immediately on the front. He was up immediately on the back. I just was never in it for even 5 minutes. And so I fought. I actually played okay. I did not play well, I would not say at all, but I hit the ball solidly. I hit a lot of good shots and landed some bad ones. But overall just felt like I was just completely overwhelmed by this guy. And I mean, he's a slightly better player than me on his home course. It wasn't that discouraging in some ways, but it was a beatdown. I got slaughtered.
I was going to ask, do you think if he would have driven out to Honeybrook that day with the games you both had that day, would you have been able to put up a much better fight, or did he just feel like he was a level above you?
It would have been a better fight for sure. I mean, I don't know what would have happened. I did not play great. I think he played great, but even as it was, I think I lost 5-4 in the end, which is a solid beatdown. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, he makes 2 long putts on the first 2 holes. If he doesn't make those 2 putts and I do everything the same, I'm 1 up through 2. And so it's not something where nothing went my way in those ways, and he was playing better than me, and so I would have needed every break I could get, and so who knows what it would have been at Honeybrook. I'd like to play him again. If I don't think that'll happen, but I'd enjoy finding out. But it was a solid beatdown, and he played really, really well. He shot 69 on the day, so it's a private course. Everyone was very apologetic. The like fairways and rough were in very good condition. It was very beautiful from the road. The greens were quite rough. Like they were bumpy immediately, and they were just a little long. They were fairly slow and bumpy, not great greens, and everyone was very apologetic about that. The membership was not pleased with the state of the golf course.
Yeah, it sounds like we've all had that experience in Gap when things aren't going your way. You're playing against somebody who is better than you, as the handicap shows. What I'm more interested in is how you play it. And you said, you didn't play amazing, but you played pretty well. Because I want to insert a clip here, if I may. This is a clip of you from a few days before this match, in what I think you would describe as one of the lowest points ever. This was like a random range session, so it wasn't like in an important event. But we'll play the clip, and then I'll have you comment on it.
I can't go play a Gap match. We're gonna.
Adam's having a crisis, so I brought out the microphone. It's April 17th. Just a random little range session here on a Wednesday evening. And that was probably his 25th shank of the day.
55th. I'm not exaggerating. You missed 30.
55th shank of the day.
That's a shank.
How many good balls have you hit out of 80?
6. I'm not exaggerating. And by good, I don't mean any good. I mean a couple that hit the face and went straight. I've hit 60% shanks. Over 80 balls at least.
Here's another one. Remember that time at Sittler Golf when your irons got bent and you hit the green 50 consecutive times? Yeah. Channel that.
Okay.
No, that was another shank.
Describe that shank. That's not like a little hoslet. That is 4 feet off the ground, 45 degrees right, going 90 degrees right by the time it's finished.
Yeah.
Shank, just to be clear. This is an audio medium. That's a shank.
Yeah.
Shank.
There's another one. Is this a bottom 5?
But worst other than that medium, because it's not happening in a USJ event. This is the worst case of the shanks I've ever had. This is worse than the medium shanks.
Wow.
But it's not going away. Shank. I'm gonna break something. I'm not joking.
Okay.
I don't know what to do.
I literally think you just need to walk away from golf today and try again tomorrow. All right, so that was a few days ago. How did you feel then in the few days leading up to the match and then on the morning of?
I felt that day and the couple days after just completely lost, just confused is almost and I just felt so far from good golf, obviously. Yet still knowing it's not very long ago that I was playing some of the best golf of my life. So obviously this can switch quickly. I was worried about my back. I was worried about everything. I was just worried. I was scared, Brian. I was a little scared.
It's okay. It's a safe place.
I've signed up for a lot of stuff, and I want to play well in it, and I don't want to embarrass myself. And if I had brought that swing to a competition, I would have embarrassed myself. It would have been nothing short of embarrassing.
It's not an exaggeration to say you shanked probably 50 out of 80 full swing shots, somewhere around there, maybe more.
Yeah. I just could not get it off the hosel. I could not get my body to do what I wanted it to do. And it was infuriating. It was sad. I felt sad. And it was awful. And so you got Jason Nickel on the horn.
We put the bat signal up. Yeah.
Yeah. We need help. We need some help. Something is wrong. And he sent me a couple videos and analyzed my swing, gave me some good swing thoughts, wanted me to get my right hip a little deeper on the way back, wanted me to get my hands more inside the ball. These are things I should have been able to figure out on my own when shanking 50 out of 80 balls, but I needed to hear them from somebody. It was miraculous to some extent. I went to the range the next day and immediately started hitting high draws. I haven't shanked a ball in 3 days. I've hit balls each of the last 3 days. I haven't hit a single shank. I feel pretty good about where my swing is. So I've got big stuff coming up in the coming weeks. I've got another gap match next Sunday, followed by the gap medium the Tuesday after that, then another gap match, then the U.S. Open qualifier the day after the final gap match. So all these things are coming in hard, and I suddenly feel okay about them. I think I feel like ready to put my foot to the gas in terms of really ramping up to these. And believe it or not, after that shank session, it wasn't a range session. It was just a shank session. After that shank session, I wouldn't have believed that I could be where I am on Monday today, because I feel again, I didn't play unbelievable yesterday at all. I barely played good, but I feel like, okay, we can work from here.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I've had similar results with Jason. I've worked a little bit more extensively with him than you have, but I have had some kind of low-hanging fruit, immediate results as well. If you've never heard Jason's name before, we have mentioned him here before, but you can find him on the Skillest app at Jason Nickel, JaysonNickol, and definitely highly recommend him. Glad to hear that helped, that you're a better spot, because that was, I kind of was taking a sick pleasure from it, just because.
Of course you are.
Well, if there would have been a chance of you staying there, then I wouldn't have. But I knew it was just going to be a quick rebound. At least I was hoping. So
I was not sure of that in the session. I was not in the shank session. I was not sure of it. Enough about me and my shanks, Brian. How did your gap match go?
My gap match went much better than yours. Much better than yours. I was playing away at Springhaven Golf Club in Wallingford, PA, down towards Philly. I had about an hour drive. Was playing with a new member at Honeybrook named Bryan also, who I had never met before, but I was told was a nice young kid. Young, I think he's probably around 30, but compared to me, that's very young.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was... I'm sure the weather was pretty similar where you were, even though we were like 2.5 hours apart. It was not warm. It was kind of breezy, overcast, chilly. On the practice putting green, the greens were light. The green was lightning. The practice putting green was lightning, and it was kind of sort of severely sloped too. Mm-hmm. But we were all talking like, holy crap! You got to be below the hole here the entire day. The range, you could only hit 150-yard shots or less. So didn't love that. Wasn't able to hit driver at all. But from the start of the match was kind of clear that I was better than the guy I was playing, which, if I got to pick whether I'm going to be better than him or worse, I'm going to pick better every time.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean the goal there is obviously to win. He was the
Or
two
with
guys
your
we put.
mindset, is it to tie? Would that be better for everybody if you just tied? Because then nobody gets too high, nobody gets too low. It's just
I think
half a point each.
you're referring to the old Bryan, but I can't really speak for him anymore, being in a new mindset. No, these guys, the guys we played against, were super nice. They were a little bit older than us. Guys who would like completely fit in at Honeybrook in their games would fit in at Honeybrook, where they might struggle to break 90 one day and then they might shoot 79 the next day, kind of thing. Despite all that, I played pretty well. Like, it was a course I wasn't familiar with. The greens ended up being kind of average speed, maybe a little fast, to the point where afterward I said to Bryan, like, the fastest green we putted all day was the practice putting green. He was like, oh, without question. And then we mentioned it to the guys in the grill room after, and the guy was like, oh yeah, everybody says that. I was like, that's not really a thing you should want everybody to say. That like,
Not
it's
something to brag about.
No. And then he wasn't bragging in his defense, but it's just like, maybe you guys should fix that. But yeah, that being said, I left my first birdie putt, well short on the first hole, but I hit the 5-footer for par. I nipped a nice little 50-yard wedge on the second hole. Fourth hole, I was in a greenside bunker, my feet outside the bunker, so it's a very awkward stance. Hit one of the best bunker shots I've ever hit to like a foot when he was already on the green. I made a mess of the fifth hole, but then the sixth hole was a par 3. I came back, and par 3, I hit it to like 12 feet and then hit the birdie putt. So, even though I never felt like really worried. My mantra for the day was like, just kind of stay relentless. Like, don't let up or anything like that. Thankfully, I went into the 9th hole having already won. I think I won the front 3 and 1, because on the 9th hole, we were both in a greenside bunker. And after I hit a real nice one to like 6 feet, he holed his out for birdie.
Wow.
And I was like, man, if that would have like halved the match, I would have been competitive. Bryan would have been irate. But Bryan and I both won our fronts. Bryan was actually down 2 at one point. We won all 3 points on the front. I just was like, all right, stay relentless on the back. And I did, and had another birdie on the back. Was on a par 5 and 2 with a good drive, a good 3-wood. Blew my eagle putt like 15 feet past the hole. Terrible putt, but made the comebacker for birdie. Ended up winning the back 4 and 3 and won the overall 6 and 4. Think I was 7 over through the 15 holes that mattered. So again, not like amazing play, but pretty solid play. Completely different experience than you, apparently.
Yeah.
And we won. Bryan's match ended up going to like the 17th hole, which he won it there. So we won all 9 points, which is awesome. I've never done that before. I've been skunked 9-0. Not a good feeling.
No, it's not.
Yeah, as you know. This was way better. It's about as stress-free of a gap day as you can be, but I'm still proud of the way I kept my head in it. I had a good mindset going in. I went over my 5, why I compete, and the one of them is I compete to win so that I can celebrate the wins, but also was like, all right, I'm here to have a good story, new experiences, blah, blah, blah. It went pretty well. Pretty happy with how I played.
No, sounds good. Sounds phenomenally better than what I experienced. So that's not true, because I enjoyed playing against someone who's better than me. And JK was playing against a guy, the other guy in our match was a guy who apparently finished like in 8th place in the U.S. Senior Open last year. No, wow. I'm sorry, the U.S. Senior Amateur.
Senior Am. Okay.
Yeah, yes, not the U.S. Senior Open.
Still, wow.
So we lost 9-0. JK lost as well. So, but it's like, it's fun to play against people who are better than you and test yourselves against that. It did give me some pause as I enter some big competitions, and I'm like, yeah, these big competitions are filled with people like that. Mm-hmm. It's like it feels a little starker when you see just one version of it. It's not just a name on a leaderboard somewhere. You're playing with a guy and you're like, yeah, I would fairly rarely beat this guy. I could beat him. I could beat him once in a while, but not on the reg,
Yeah. What part of your game was going the best on Sunday? What part did you feel like was the worst?
Honestly, nothing was great. Nothing was terrible. I had a lot of good drives. I made some good putts. Probably my short game. My short game was not bad, but I hit some bad short game shots. My low point in terms of golf was, I believe it was like the 7th hole. I had just won a hole to get it back. So I was 3 down through 4, and then I'd won a hole to get it back to 2. And then I hit it further than this guy, which was interesting. It's always interesting when someone who gets he was 33, I was 35. I was hitting it 10, 15 yards past him pretty regularly.
Wow.
And so I hit a great drive after winning a hole. I get down to my ball. I'm like 48 yards away from the green. He puts his approach shot to 50 feet. Definitely not an easy 2-putt. And I've got a perfect angle to it. I take out a wedge, and the pin was kind of tucked way on the right, and I should have just aimed 12 feet left of it, put it on the green. And I was trying to aim a little left of it, but not far enough. And I blocked it just a tiny bit, and it caught the edge of the rough that kind of came out. And this rough was really long and just kind of buried. Ugh. And I'm like, so I missed the green from 48 yards, and then I kind of hack it out, because it was so thick, and it went to like 20 feet, and I 3-putted from 20 feet for double. And so then he 3-putted and won with a bogey because of how that went. That was like the low point. That was definitely the worst, was, so didn't enjoy that.
Well, I think the whole team sounded like faced a buzzsaw, because I think the whole team had trouble taking points away, and I think even home too. So sometimes you just run into those matchups, because I'm on Honeybrook's team 2, and we were playing Springhaven's team 4 was in our division. Oh, wow. So yeah, it's just so much has to do with the draw. But
I'm hoping I know I'm playing away at Concord Country Club week 3. I'm hoping that means that I am home at Honeybrook next week.
Yeah. I am, unfortunately, my gap season is done. This Sunday, I'm going to be with the Lancaster Bible golf team for day 2 of our conference tournament, our final day. And then I have other commitments on the first Sunday in May. So I'm done, but your legacy is going to live on, and we'll have.
Why are you being vague about what your other commitments are? Is it something weird?
It's really weird. It's something really weird. It's my. Exactly. It's exactly what it is. No, it's my pastor's 50th birthday that week. And so we're honoring him on Sunday morning at both services. And because I've been friends with him for 20 plus years and part of the leadership team, I'm often asked to kind of facilitate that. So I will be at both services doing the honoring, whatever that means. We're still trying to figure that out. But yeah.
You should tell that makeup material you did on stage. You could just break that back out. You could just rehash it.
Wow, you're just really going to shoehorn makeup jokes anywhere you can, aren't you? It's all right. I deserve
it. Maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know.
Listen, it's good material. If I had 50 sets to refine it, it could be good. It could be passable.
We gold.
Gold, Jerry. Gold. All right. Well, keep grinding. And yeah, we'll check in after your next one.
All right.
9 days later, we were back in the studio, ready to talk about Adam's second week of the Gap team matches. All right, Adam, we are here to talk about Gap match week 2 for you. I did not play, but you did. And I'm going to be honest here, I did not look at any results.
Nothing.
I didn't. I looked at the Team 1 result, or the Team 2 results, and I looked at the Team 3 results, but I didn't look at any Team 1 results. So I've got, like the listeners, I've got no idea how you played, how it went. Give me the download.
All right. Well, I played with Dan Perry. He was my teammate in this one. We had a great time together.
Yeah, great fun.
We were at home at the brook. Played a guy named Sam Seashore. And Dan and I'm sure Sam has heard this many times. Dan and I made many, seashores by the seashore jokes as we played.
As you do.
But Sam, very good player. He's a scratch golfer. So he was 0. So we were both +1 on the course rating. So it was a dead even match. We get out there.
Does it put that on the card, even though it's not a handicap match?
Yeah, it puts the course. I don't know if it put it on the card, but you could look it up. When you look up in the Gap Match portal, it gives what the course handicap was.
Right.
So I believe we were both +1s at Honeybrook. So it was a very even match, and we get out there, hit a good drive on one. He hits one left, almost into the pond. But he finds it, hits it up onto the green. I have a 18-footer for birdie. And when I tell you this putt missed by as little as it could miss, I mean, I don't mean it lipped out. Okay. Mm-hmm. It did touch the hole. It did lip out. It was dying in on the high side, lipped and sat on the back edge enough to look at. And so it's obviously good for par. Sam steps up, pours it in from 13 feet for par to tie me. So I've hit 3 what I would consider perfect shots, and we're tied through 1, right?
Hate that for you.
Hit a perfect drive on 2, hit a good wedge to 20 feet. He hits it into the second pond on 2.
Okay.
He drops on the island between the 2 ponds, hits it to 12 feet from between the islands. I just burn an edge, absolutely burn an edge, tap in for my 4. He drains the 12-footer.
Oh, my gosh.
We are tied through 2.
Freaking seashell.
Freaking seashore, this guy. Seashore. We go to 3. I hit one on to the green. He hits it into the back bunker on 3.
Ooh, okay.
I'm on the front of the green. The pin's kind of back. I knock it up to 2-3 feet. It's given to me. He knocks his bunker shot out of the bunker to 15-18 feet maybe. Pours it in from 15-18.
His strokes gained putting is 4.5.
It's outrageous.
Through 3 holes.
We are tied. We are tied through 3. We go to the par 5 4th. I hit a good drive. He hits a drive kind of over into the bunkers. I get up around the green, knock it up to 15 feet. He actually gets his second shot way further down than I thought, clears the bunker, chips it up to 12 feet maybe. I putt first for birdie, just miss it, tap in for par. He pours in the birdie.
4 putts through 4 holes?
4 putts through 4 holes.
Oh, my word.
And I am even par through 4, have hit only good shots so far. Just exclusively good shots. And I am down 1. And I am just shell-shocked a little bit. Honestly, I'm a little bit
shocked even.
Yes, I'm just I'm saying, Dan and I know each other. We haven't played with each other that much, but we're comfortable enough in the card at that point that I'm just saying, is there any chance I win this match? This guy doesn't blink. I kept saying he was sticky. I said, Sam's sticky. Because I was saying that until he birdied the 4th, and then he's not sticky. He's just right. I don't know what he is at that point. I am even par, have played perfect golf. I mean, and again, even my missed birdie putts were just so they should have gone in. They should have gone. I'm not saying they hit the hole. I'm saying they were. I'm playing as well as I can play, and I am down 1 through 4, and I'm like, what is happening? I hit a good drive on 5. Knock it into the middle of the green. I 2 putt for par. He makes bogey. So
okay,
Sam is a human golfer, if you can believe that.
I was wondering if he was AI, if it was an AI golfer out there. So
he is a human golfer.
He's a real boy.
I mean, my goodness, it was outrageous.
He makes bogey. What kind of vibe is there between you guys? Like, is there any joking about, oh, wow, I guess you're not going to one putt every green? Is it like real intense competitive?
Bit. They're super nice guys. Super nice guys. Sam especially is just like he's like a little older gentleman like you. And so he was probably like 45.
So not quite my age. Gotcha.
No, not quite your age, but a little older. And he just super nice, very just down to earth guy. Really liked him, but he's a good golfer. He's just a good golfer. He doesn't hit a lot of bad golf shots. That was clear. We are even after 5. We go to the 6th hole. I hit a good drive. He hits a good drive. Like, I hit one into the middle of the green. He hits one well to the left of the green. I 2-putt. He makes a ridiculous up and down and stays one up on me. And it's just like,
wow.
I'm truly at this point, like, there's no way I'm going to win this match. I really am feeling that way. We're even and I'm playing well. And I'm like, there's no way I can win this match.
Huh.
It's just something about the way he's doing it. He's very casual about it. It's very laissez-faire. You know, he doesn't seem surprised by anything that's happening. I could be at this point in the match with some missed putts, conservatively 3 up. Yeah. I could be 4 up, and we're even. We are even. We both hit good irons off the tee on 7. He hits one into the middle of the green. I pull mine left a foot from the hazard. I hit a perfect tee shot, pulled a wedge left a foot from the hazard, have a long pitch back over to a front right pin. I kind of leave it on that hump at the front of the green there and have like a 25, 30 footer for par. And he's 20 feet for birdie.
Okay.
And I get up and I double breaker knock my par putt in.
Ooh, you seashelled him.
I seashelled the man.
Let's go. Love that.
He runs his putt by about 6 feet and misses the comebacker.
Ooh.
And I win the 7th hole.
Okay.
I mean, what a turn that is. I mean, holy cow.
This guy is the opposite of a front runner. Like, when he's out of a hole, that's when he shines. But when he's in pole position, can't handle it.
That's right. So he 3 putts from 20 feet. I make a stupid up and down. Again, not stupid because if I had gotten up and down from the spot, it wouldn't have been stupid.
Yeah.
But when I made the 30 footer after a bad chip, it was stupid. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So on 8, I pull it way left of the green, like almost to the cart path.
Yeah. Bailout central.
Bailout central.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, I've been fighting shanks. So this was another scared shank swing.
Mm-hmm.
So I hit first because I'd won the last hole. So I'm like, oh, great. So I'm giving this right back to him.
Yep.
He immediately blocks one 20 yards into the hazard.
Ooh.
Just 20 yards in. And so he goes up. He we're telling him like that ball was not even close. It's 20 yards in. Yeah. He's looking all around, and like I'm not even helping him look, honestly, because I'm like I don't know what to tell you. It is way in the hazard. So then they did not have the drop zone. So Dan was the one who's like, yeah, the spot to drop is back up, like behind the ladies' tees.
Yeah.
He gets up, knocks it into the back bunker. He's done. I somehow get up and down from the cart path for par to actually win the hole for our team and go 2 up on the match. So I win the front 9.
Let's go.
On 8, win the front 9 on 8, and then, you know, take a point for the team. So we go to 9 having closed out the front, which is just crazy, just feels crazy. It doesn't even feel possible. He does win 9.
Okay.
I shanked a ball on 9. I hit one way right into the fairway of 18 and shanked one, then knocked it onto the green, 2-putted. So he wins hole 9. So I'm 1 up going into the 10th hole.
Okay. 1 up in the overall match. Headed to the back. Love it.
So
just to remind listeners, there's 3 points at stake between Adam and Seashell. There's the front, there's the back, and there's the overall, like your traditional Nassau. There's also a team match going on. How did you and Dan do in the team match on the front?
We won the front. We won 1 point on the front for the team match. So along with my win individually, we're doing great.
Did Dan win his front match? Do you know?
He also won his front match 3 up.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I won my match 1 up. Dan won his match 3 up, and we also, as a team, won the overall on the front. So we've taken 3 of a possible 3 points at that point. We get to 10. I hit a 5-iron into 10, and it looks tight. One guy said go in.
Okay.
So it's a very back pin. It looks really, really, really good. He hits his into the back right bunker. Warm orange soda is needed to finish this sentence. I'm joking.
That's what most podcasters do. Go for warm orange.
It's warm diet orange soda. So I'm on the green. Looks like tight. He's in the back right bunker. We get up there, and it was a crazy optical illusion. My ball was on the front right hump, and I am 45, 50 feet from the hole. And we all thought it was tight, tight. Again, one of the opponents shouted "Go in" when it's on the ground.
Do the rules of golf say that if the opponent says "Go in," then your next putt is conceded, or how does that work?
Yep.
Okay.
So we go from me being tight, putting for birdie, to me being 50 feet, him actually being closer, but in a bunker. And as Seashell does, he gets up and down from the bunker, and I 3-putt from 50 feet and lose the hole, and we are tied on the match. I'm 1 down on the back. So the emotional shift I can't describe to you because you're just hearing a scorecard reading.
Right.
The emotional shift of that, where I've just won the front, and that shift was rough. It was not good. And so I take my tee shot on 11 on that pretty aggressive line I take on 11. I am in the left first cut of the rough, way, way up there. He is kind of he hits a good tee shot on the right side of the fairway, but probably 40 yards back of me. The other guy hit one way right. So he told me, if you're ready, go ahead and hit. Okay. So I get up to mine, even though I'm the furthest one up by quite a bit. And off a downhill lie, I hit a beautiful little draw with a sand wedge to like 8 feet. I'm like, just stuff it in there. It looks perfect. It's drawing in kind of that hill that falls off to the left there. It falls a little left, and we're 8 feet, good looking putt, up a hill even a little bit for birdie. Sam gets up from 160 probably. Hits this low burner in. And this thing, runs up the front of the green, kind of comes up that hill to the left of the green, slopes back, and stops about 18 inches behind the hole from 160. Not quite. It was maybe a little more than 18 because we did not concede the putt.
Okay.
I get up. I lip out my 8-footer. He taps in his 18-incher to 2-footer. I mean, maybe, again, I don't know. Maybe I should have given it to him, but let him tap in his birdie, and he's now 2 up on the back, 1 up on the overall match. I mean, it's just, I just can't believe that this has happened.
I love how even as you're describing it, like I love the emotional highs and lows. And again, we've beat the dead horse on this, but that's how you live your life. That's how you play golf. It sounds like this is the way you want it.
Yeah, I mean, in one sense that is true, and in another sense it just felt like such a statistical anomaly. Not because not that I'm losing to him. He could beat me a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
The way we were both playing, he was making everything. I was playing well. And the fact that I'm 1 down through 11 and 2 down on the back is just, it's inconceivable. I mean, just the way it happened. I mean, we could play that round and get to putts 100 times, and I would be 3 up more than I'd be 1 down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But are you able to call back the front 9 and be like, okay, I kind of felt like this at times during the front 9, and
I'm trying.
I won.
I'm trying, Brian. I'm doing all that. I'm staying in my process. I'm just hitting golf shots,
Love it.
I'm not trying to get back into the front 9. I'm not trying to rest on my laurels. I'm just trying to play golf. So we get to the 12th hole. He makes a mess of the 12th hole. I make par on 12. He almost is out of bounds. He then hits one into the hazard. All that. So I mean, so it was not a difficult hole. So he gives me the hole back. We are even, and I'm 1 down on the back. We get to 13. I hit a 7-iron just kind of on the right fringe. He hits his way right. And he then takes his chip and he chips it back over the green to the left. I 2-putt, and he does not get up and down. So after 13, so after he doesn't get up and down, we are even on the back. I am 1 up overall. We go to 14. We're playing the blue tee, so we're way back there.
Yeah.
I've been hitting my driver well all day. Just the driver's been really, really good. I decide I am going to take driver. So he hits his driver. Spoiler alert. He hits it right into the bunker front. So now, so he's in good position. I take my driver and I hit. I don't know how to say it. The weirdest drive of my life. I've never hit this drive before. It was like a heel sky pull. Like it's not a ball I've ever hit.
Oh, the old heel sky pull.
Yeah. So it's like it's left into the hazard area, right?
Yeah.
It's over it, but hit hard enough that Dan and I went and looked in 15 fairway because we're like, you hit it hard. Like,
oh, wow.
There's a chance that got over, but it is way left.
Wow.
Way left. So we got, with their permission, I dropped one where we would drop on that line, tried to hit a weird rope hook to get it back because the trees were still blocking me where I had to drop. Shanked the rope hook back into the creek, then didn't find the ball. Long story short, I conceded the hole, Brian.
I can say we've played 500 times at Honeybrook, maybe more. Never have we gone and looked in 15 fairway for a drive off of 14.
And Dan and I probably shouldn't have. Honestly, to be clear, that's probably not what we should have spent our time doing. But we were like, there's a chance. There's a chance this ball's over here somewhere. It was just so high, so left. It was just like, I don't even... Again, left is a low miss generally. So this was a high left miss that I don't recognize. So we get to 15T.
Are you rattled at this point after such a bad hole?
I'm not doing well, but like...
Not whistling.
Yeah, I'm not passive aggressively whistling like you after a bad hole.
That's what I do.
So we get to 15T. Sam has the honors. We are even in a match, 1 down on the back. Sam is standing over a driver on 15.
Hardest tee shot on the course, probably, for those of you not familiar.
We've been giving advice all day. We did not give a lot of advice here. We were just like, it was a tight match. The team match was tight. Dan is losing his match pretty severely on the back. I believe he was only one up at this point.
Okay.
Sam backs off at the last second and says, I want to hit 5-wood here. He kind of feels out what's happening on 15. And I'm like, I can't believe he actually figured that out. He then immediately blocks one directly out of bounds.
Ooh.
It goes 15 feet. There's a silence into out of bounds, and you hear, and suddenly another 7 seconds passes, and a ball drops on the ladies' tee.
Oh my gosh.
And it is Sam's ball.
What a break.
I'm just off of shanking one on 14. So I hit driver because I'm like I've hit some good drivers. I hit my driver. It's a good one that just doesn't cut quite enough. It takes one hop in the fairway and bounces about a foot and a half into the hazard long left of. So now playable. I find it. I'm going to be able to play it. Sam gets to his ball on the ladies' tee. He takes the same 5-wood he hit. He hits one on a very aggressive line through trying to hit it through the window. There's an overhanging tree to the right at Honeybrook, right? It once again clacks off a branch, bounces straight up in the air. Could have gone out of bounds.
Yeah.
It didn't. It falls straight down under that tree.
Oh my word.
So he's now lying under the tree to the right. So he's still 300 yards from the hole.
Yeah.
Lying to.
I don't like where this is going.
I find my ball and I am able to punch it out. Just to the right of all those hazard stakes, the penalty stakes, there's that kind of rocky area almost. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
I'm just sitting on rocks.
Oh no.
I'm just sitting on rocks in there. I take my hybrid and I knock it up into the right bunker.
Like greenside bunker?
Greenside bunker. So I hit a really good hybrid shot from there. Sam, from 5 yards closer to me from the fairway, 5 yards further away from me from the fairway, he had just knocked his ball into the same bunker.
Wow.
So we're both greenside bunker. I get up and I hit what I think is a pretty good bunker shot to 10 feet, maybe 10 feet. I was really happy with it.
Yeah.
He knocks his out. He hits second and he knocks 15 feet. So another good shot, but not quite as good as mine. He steps up and he pours in his 15-footer. None of these putts that he has made, none of them were in doubt. Every single one, as soon as he hit it, I'm like, got it, right in the heart. Got it. No, you don't even need to look. They're perfect.
Oh, seashell.
I miss my putt for birdie, and my par puts me 2 down on the back and 1 down overall.
Okay.
And I'm just dejected. I'm not doing well. I am not doing well. I have played well. I have barely missed putts. So it's like a mix. I'm not playing great. I'm going to tell you right now. I shot a 74 overall. So it's not like it was just I was not lights out. I could have been better, could have been worse. I shot right to a slightly below average score. And I'm just feeling like I cannot believe this. And so I step up, I decide to go driver on 16. And I'm feeling like I'm in a fog. I am in a fog. I cannot believe what's going on. And so I hit a good controlled cut down into the bunker, the front. So I hit it right into the front bunker on 16.
Short par 4. Yeah.
Yep. He hits an iron off the tee. He knocks it just over the green.
Okay.
And pitches it up to about 12 feet.
Oh, that's his range.
And no, it's like a gimme for him. We should have given him every one. And so I say to Dan, I've got to get this up and down for birdie. Like Seashell is not missing that 12-footer for par.
Yeah.
So I get up into the bunker, but I also feel a little bit like, okay, the only thing you can do to blow this hole is obviously like blast one over, catch a little ball and blast it over the green.
Right.
So I'm just like, you got to get this into the middle of the green. It's a back pin. I knock it back to, middle of the green, 30 feet, big left to right swinger.
Yep.
And I'm just like, again, we're on the green, and I'm saying to Dan, I'm like, I got to make this putt. I just have to.
Yeah. By the way, I played Monday at Honeybrook the day after you, and it was all the same pins. So I know exactly the putt you had.
So 30 feet to a back left pin. We're playing 3.5 feet of break, maybe.
Yeah.
And I just gutted it. Just perfect. Just
Let's
30
go.
feet right in the heart for
Let's
birdie.
go.
And
pick up that coin, Seashell.
Pick it up. He putted it, made it. I'm not joking. He made the 12-footer for par. I needed that putt.
Wow.
I needed it. And so now we go to 17. I have re-tied the match.
Yep.
I am now only one down on the back.
Yep.
We go to 17. We're on those back tees. I'm hitting first. And I don't know how to explain this, Brian.
Holes playing what, 180-ish?
It was like 180, a little downwind. I pulled a 7-iron. And we had to wait a second, and I was kind of back there by myself. The birds were chirping. It was a perfect day. I took a deep breath, and I teed up my ball real early.
Okay.
And I just stood back there, and I had shanked multiple balls. That in the back nine, literally hosel shanked multiple balls. I'm not feeling good about my irons. I'm not feeling good about anything.
Okay. I feel like you only mentioned one shank. Can we go back and talk in detail about the other ones?
Yeah, sure.
No,
Why not? Well, later.
Okay.
I'm standing behind this ball, and I had this moment where nobody was back there yet. I could kind of hear them maybe chattering a little bit off to the left, but I'm standing back behind my ball, and I had that Bagger Vance moment where everything's zoned in, and and my brain went, and this is not a joke. This is not after the fact. I said to myself, your entire life has prepared you to do this.
Ooh, I like this.
And I was just like, everything you care about has prepared you for this moment. And I swear when I got over the ball, my swing thought was, you're ready for this. That was the swing thought.
Okay.
And I hit the best 7-iron I've ever hit in my life.
Let's go.
A towering 1-yard draw 7-iron that just stuffed to 5 feet. Just Sam hit a good iron shot to 25 feet. He missed his putt. I hit my birdie putt, center cut, never in doubt. Here suddenly, we have swung this thing from where I was borderline dormy. I've won 2 in a row. I've birdied 16 and 17.
Look at him.
So we get up. I torch a drive on 18. I mean, as hard as I can hit a drive. And again, I had that same feeling where I'm just like, I'm standing behind the ball on 18, and I'm like, there is no chance I'm hitting a bad one here. And I hit it up to like 50 yards. He's 60, 70 yards behind me. And the first real mistake he made all day, but it was one that I've never seen, to be fair. He pole hooked his approach shot into the parking lot, hit a car. Like one bounce into the parking lot. We found his ball in the parking lot. He did not hit a provisional. He did not hit another. He just conceded the hole when he hit it into the parking lot.
Oh my gosh.
And so I won the match 2 up and won the last 3 holes to steal the back 9 and win all 3 points. Dan and I won the overall team. The team hit all that. We won 7-2 overall.
7-2 overall. Wow.
Yeah. It was just such a roller coaster where I feel a mix of emotions even now where I go, I should have won that match the way I was playing versus the way he was playing at the time. 6-5. I should have won 6-5. But then I was literally down 1 on the overall, down 2 on the back 9 after 15, and then won the final 3 holes. And that felt really good. Obviously, that was fun.
Wow. What a journey. I'm so glad I didn't look ahead to see what happened there, because that was amazing. Man, so many thoughts. First of all, I love, like, you have been struggling a little bit with the shanks, but I just love, like, in those last couple of holes, like, it wasn't like there wasn't technical thoughts. It was like literally the exact opposite of like you were born
the highest the highest elevation was what happened, where it was just like you're now tied on a match on 17, and it was you were born for this. Nobody here, like I remember the other thought I had was nobody here has prepared as much as you have for this.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're gonna do this.
That's great.
And
I love that.
And that was the swing thought. I stood over the ball, didn't think about a shank, thought about my mental preparedness. And it was great.
That's awesome. The other thing I think about is just like you describing how low you were. Maybe not low is the right word, but just frustrated. You even said there on the back 9 at one point, you just felt like you were in a fog. Mm-hmm. It's so interesting to me because when I hear that, I'm like, oh, well, how could he recover from that? Like he's gotten to a place that I never want to get to and imagine he probably doesn't either. Like, crap, he's screwed, but you push through it.
For me, it felt in this instance, it felt like there was a fog. There was a rage. I mean, honestly, like it was just like watching him pour these putts in to defeat me over and over again, or to hold me off at least. I'm not doing well with it, right? Like I'm just like, I cannot believe this is happening. But then when I'm suddenly down going into 16, I'm like, well, what else are you going to do? Are you actually going to keel over? Is that what's going to happen? Are you actually going to just give in?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, then what are we doing?
Heck yeah.
Why do we have a podcast? Why do I golf at all?
Right.
Like fight. Don't go gently into that good night. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, and whatever. So there was some clarity. There was some mental acuity that came out of that. And I found something in that moment. And I don't think it was a coincidence. I don't think it was just that I played well when I think I got into a mindset for those 3 holes where I had a vision that was like, I remember thinking on 16T, I'm like, I can win these 3 holes and walk off having won everything.
Yeah.
And then that happened. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I like that.
That's great. And yet at the same time, obviously a part of the results were him, screwing up the last hole, mm-hmm. Him not making birdie on 16, despite the fact that he made a crazy par. So obviously some of those results are always going to be out of your control, some of those outcomes, but you controlled what you could control. So let me ask you this. You've had a few days to process this. I promise I'm not asking you like, do you want to be more like me in any way? Because I know that you're always going to say no to that. But as you look back on that round and the emotional roller coaster, are there any notes for yourself? Are there any like, you know what, I could have handled that differently? Or do you not really like look back and think like that? Because obviously you won. The outcome was great.
I definitely think like that, but the result is the opposite of thinking like you.
Explain.
I went through a bevy of emotions and I let them pass through my body.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I had 100% certainty that when I got to my next tee shot, I wasn't going to be distracted by these thoughts.
Yep.
I knew where I was. So there was no question about knowing where I was. I knew exactly where I was. I had felt the emotions and I had kind of let them out. I had let them exist, and I was not stifling them. And therefore, when I got to 16T, I felt like, okay, you've processed that. This is the position you're in. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
I wasn't standing on 16 feeling rage. I was walking off 15 feeling rage. I was driving to 16 feeling rage. I was walking to the tee on 16 feeling rage, but I was not standing over my ball feeling rage. I was like, okay, you did that. Now what? Mm-hmm. Now the process of analyzing my tee shot and what do I want to do? What's my position? What is this tee shot that I've hit 100 times, 300 times? What do I do now? Because I know where I am. I know my mental state. I've processed those emotions. What now? That was what got me to a place where I was like, okay, I chose driver. We don't normally hit. So we've gone through periods of experimenting with driver on 16. I normally hit something less than driver.
Yeah, I usually do, but you don't.
And so like I still do half the time, but it was clearly hey, we're down one. We need a birdie. We're hitting driver here. And it's like it felt like to me, it felt like the culmination of all the ways that I think.
Yeah.
I know exactly where I am. I've processed my emotions. I've felt my feelings. And now what do we got to do over these 3 holes? And let's go do it.
I love it. Kudos to you. Way to get some points for Honeybrook. Way to execute and put all that preparation into play. It amazing.
It was exciting.
I am so proud of you. And the word that comes to mind to me is the word that was going through my head in week 1 of Gap, which is just relentless. Like, just no matter how many bombs Seashell's going to hit, like, you just kept coming back and kept hitting good shots, and it paid off. Man, that's awesome. And
I talk about like just wanting to find like it's not the biggest things that will make me feel validation for the effort I've put in golf, but I'm being put in these situations. I've played the average handicap of people I've played over 2 weeks is plus 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 1-1.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? That excites me.
Yeah.
That's like you're playing good golfers and you're there. You're in it. So next week I play at Honeybrook again. I thought I was going to play at Concord, but I'm at Honeybrook again. So one more chance. I've got a chance to go 2-1 on the Gap match season, and I'm excited about it. It's going to be good.
I know you were pretty excited about Gap going into it. Has it met expectations?
Yeah, no, it's exactly what I expected. It feels very low pressure to me, but then when you beat a good golfer or you lose to a good golfer, it kind of like that individual experience weighs heavy, where it's like you could do that anyway, but like you can go on the Gap match portal and it has your singles record.
Yep.
And I didn't realize that. Yep. Like I went on the portal after week 1 and it was like Adam Shorey singles record 0-1.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I hate that. I do not like that at all.
Yep.
And so I'm so happy that my record is 1-1, and I can't wait. I love that I get a chance at home next week to be a winning player against really good golfers, and that would be fun.
So, Adam has a shot to achieve that winning 2-1 Gap team match record this weekend. And we'll certainly let you know how that goes. But not next week. Because next week, we've got something that, well, in the words of Adam, is much more important. Next week, Adam tees it up in a mid-am qualifier. And based on how his last 2 weekend matches played out, it feels like anything is possible.
I hit a good drive, good approach shot on 11. I 2-putt for par. And then we get to 12. Okay. And Brian, I've been known to drink warm orange soda on our podcast before. That's something that's happened before.
Yep.
I poured a small glass of whiskey just to recount 12 for you.
Oh no.
I take a cheap bourbon is needed to get through this.
Should I go pour some as well?
I wouldn't not if I were you.
We'll tell the full story in episode 7. See you next week. Thanks so much for checking out the Bag Chatter podcast. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and you already know how to subscribe to podcasts, so I'm not going to waste your time. You can find us on all the socials at Bag Chatter Golf or Bryan Lane Golf, and you can check out everything we have going on at bagchattergolf.com. If you want more content from me and Adam, check out the Bag Chatter Deli. That is our Patreon, where we only serve the choicest portions of 4-ball ham and the leanest cuts of bone meat. For $5 a month, you get to support the pod, and you get a weekly episode of our Friday supporter-only podcast, Cold Cuts, Hot Takes. You can find that at patreon.com/bagchattergolf. You guys are the best. Thanks so much for listening.